What is going on, Dragon Ball fans? We have the entire Dragon Ball Super Broly synopsis in its full detail on this video here today, alongside brand new screenshots from a Dragon Ball Super Broly television ad, in which we are going to go through first before the overall synopsis. And again, just a fair warning if you guys don't want to be spoiled, in which case I do believe that sometimes hearing about spoilers creates more anticipation for someone to go see a movie even more, or just knowing about something ahead of time actually prompts someone in wanting to see the end result unfold before their very eyes. But if you don't want to know anything in its full entirety, then this video is not for you. However, if you don't care and you want to find out what happens in this movie because you're going to see it anyway, then this is the video for you. Now, before diving deeper into the overall synopsis of what we're about to see, we have brand new screenshots from the Dragon Ball Super TV ad that was shown, in which case, as you guys can see on screen first, we have a beautiful visual of Super Saiyan God Vegeta, seemingly enough looking like he's about to unleash the Big Bang attack down on Broly. So again, it's pretty cool how they're doing a throwback in Vegeta's classic Big Bang pose, which I really do love, and the aura, the overall atmosphere in which Vegeta is being depicted in right here looks brilliant. It looks amazing, and I think that Super Saiyan God's going to be depicted very well in this movie, in which case it should be, because for Vegeta's case, he's never shown this form before. So props to Vegeta, Big Bang attack, and as you guys can see in the following image having to be shown, we see Broly in guard position, and he looks to be a little concerned as to what he's looking at above, and this could be as a result of Super Saiyan God Vegeta's Big Bang attack, which ultimately makes sense because we come to the understanding that Broly is going to fight Vegeta first. So it's because of this, I'm guessing, that Vegeta's about to unleash the Big Bang attack, and Broly is going to attempt to tank the attack if he could as a result of this fight. Now, the final screenshot having to be shown here is pretty cool, because we see Super Saiyan Broly attacking a final form Frieza, which I think is pretty cool. The way Broly is standing over Frieza, his hands are massive, and it looks like he's about to smash on Frieza, in which on this video today later on, you are going to see for yourself what exactly happens between the two. So Frieza looks like he's going to fight Broly. He is going to use his golden form as a reserve to help him out, but let's be realistic, that golden form isn't really going to do any justice for him in this situation. Now, we will be discussing, live streaming, and bringing you guys more information as the days follow, so if you are new to this channel, don't forget to punch that subscribe button, enable all notifications to never miss a single upload, and of course, leave your thoughts down below as to what you expect to see from this movie, because my question to you as we go forward in this video is, where do you see Dragon Ball Super after Dragon Ball Super Broly? As the official synopsis for the upcoming Dragon Ball Super Broly movie goes as follows. The movie starts by going back 41 years into the past, where planet Vegeta is suddenly swarmed by dozens of Planetary Trade Federation, PTF for short, ships. King Vegeta is made aware of their arrival, and a mass of Saiyans, most likely upper class, go to greet King Cold, who had just exited the ship. At this point in time, the Saiyans have already been affiliated with the PTF and have been working under King Cold for a while, but the purpose of this visit was to announce that the old king was going to retire and give command to his young son Frieza, hence the introduction of Frieza's reign over the Saiyans. This marks the birth of the Frieza era of the PTF, and he gives the Saiyans 500 scouters as a gift. While demonstrating the scouters' functions, Frieza notices that there were 3 Saiyan snipers surrounding him from within the castle walls, and he dispatches each of them before they can even react, with a death beam to each. Frieza then says that he's got high expectations of the Saiyans and leaves the planet, immediately just murking all 3 of the snipers and going about his business and stating that he is now in control over the Saiyans, being that King Cold at this current point in time is going to be retiring. Afterwards, King Vegeta visits an underground chamber in which a small number of soon-to-be elite Saiyan children were being nurtured inside of their incubators. King Vegeta claims that his son is showing remarkable growth and that he's got the potential of a genius. A few meters away, Broly is also found inside of one of those incubators, and the Saiyan personal informs their king that the child shows abnormal power, similar to the previous Broly movies. One of their scouters even breaks while attempting to measure measure Broly's power level due to his fluctuating power. Shocked and in denial, King Vegeta decides to send Broly away, fearing that he might one day not only be a challenge to his son for the throne, but also become a danger to the universe itself. Which kind of gives me a little bit of a Black Panther kind of vibe when it comes to King Vegeta's son Vegeta having to fight Broly for the throne itself, and being that King Vegeta ultimately feared Broly, that goes without question, and King Vegeta does not want to have any other Saiyan basically dethrone the Vegeta bloodline and having to rule over the Saiyans, so that in and of itself makes sense in the fact that King Vegeta was fearful that Broly was going to one day grow up and rebel against his own people. As we continue, therefore Broly is soon extracted and placed inside of a pod, coordinates planet Vampa, an isolated planet devoid of human life. This doesn't go without catching the ear of Paragus, and he also seeks audience with the king in hopes of changing his mind. Struggle which turns out to be in vain. Angry and betrayed, Paragus vows to have revenge and leaves on a spaceship with that Saiyan we see with him in the trailer, who happens to tag along, Beats, and goes after Broly. Their landing is rough, but they make it in one piece and soon go on the search for Broly. The planet is full of these spider crab looking creatures, and as the two Saiyans do their best to avoid them, they eventually find Kid Broly inside of a nest, having devoured quite a few of them. After Paragus makes contact with his son, he realizes that the child had turned into an Ozaru, and in order to ravage them, apparently there is a moon near planet Vampa. This is when Paragus scans Broly, and his power level as a kid is revealed to be 920. So it looks like the whole 10,000 power level stuff that we saw in the previous Broly movies are not a factor, because accordingly enough, his power level at this point in time is in fact 920. After that, Paragus attempts to leave the planet, but it is revealed that their tough landing severely damaged the ship, making it useless. In order to save food, Paragus kills the other Saiyan so that only him and Broly remain and activates a distress call. So right from the get-go, it looks like Paragus is trying to preserve himself and Broly from further having to share food, further having to share resources, and Paragus in this movie seems to be the more dominant figure in the fact that he's trying to desperately look after his son, which isn't a bad thing considering the fact that if you are a father yourself, you're going to do everything you can to protect your child, and that's exactly what Paragus is doing here. So King Vegeta exiled Broly, and due to this, Paragus tries to plead with him, nothing works. He leaves with Beats to try to find Broly. They find Broly, and to preserve food and resources while there, just to ensure that him and Broly can survive. The narration continues. 5 years after Frieza's visit to planet Vegeta, the scene changes to Bardock returning from battle. He's having a discussion with his fellow Saiyan pilots and is very suspicious of Frieza's order of the Saiyans returning to their home planets. Bardock theorizes that Frieza might want to kill them, so he visits Gine and decides to send Kakarot away to Earth, where he would be safe just in case. While reluctant, Gine agrees to that, and we have a nice Superman moment in which Bardock holds a crying Gine close to him while their son departs to the planet in a Saiyan space pod. I forgot to mention that Bardock also asked Gine about Raditz, and she says that he's been placed on the same team with Vegeta, as we've seen in Dragon Ball Z. On this ship, word about the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God legends have reached Frieza's ears, so he decides to eradicate the Saiyans together with planet Vegeta in order to make sure that there's no possibility of those legends coming true. Basically getting rid of the Saiyans because he sees them as a threat. And there are a lot of people in this world that feel threatened by something, so they'll try to do anything to destroy it behind the scenes, but Frieza here does it openly. As Frieza launches his supernova at the planets, Bardock is the only Saiyan that launches a huge ki blast at it in his attempts to try and do something. Obviously this fails, and he is engulfed by the huge fireball as it makes its way into the planet and completely annihilates it. So that is very similar in which we saw in Dragon Ball Z. It's pretty cool to see how Bardock is also looking after Goku's well-being alongside Raditz and asking where he is. So with all that being said, it's a callback to Dragon Ball Minus. It's a callback to the original Dragon Ball where we see Frieza destroying the planet, but it looks like the word about the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God legends have reached Frieza's ear. I'm also very curious if they are ever going to introduce anything that involves the original Super Saiyan God, perhaps diving further into Yamoshi's history. That's probably going to happen way later down the line if they decide to go into that story and explaining it, but as the story continues, Vegeta was on another planet together with Raditz, Nappa, and 2 other Saiyans. Nappa and the 2 other Saiyans are shocked to hear that a quote meteor has destroyed planet Vegeta, and they inform the prince. Raditz says that they were lucky, while Nappa says that Vegeta supposedly had a brother as well. Nice little Tarble reference there, and wonders what happened to him, to which Vegeta responds by saying that he doesn't care. Nappa then asks Raditz about Kakarot, to which he replies that he was a weakling and so it doesn't really matter, but he does mention that he had received a message from Gine earlier in which she had mentioned that she had sent Kakarot to Earth. Time jump to the present day, Goku and Vegeta, Buu Saga outfit, are sparring outside of a deserted island, while Bulma, Bola, and Whis and Beerus are enjoying some food not too far away. After their sparring session is over, Whis asks Goku why he seeks further strength, to which he replies that after the Tournament of Power had opened his eyes to all of the possible strong beings out there, we get a picture montage of the most powerful Tournament of Power contestants, including Ribrianne, yes, I know, Kefla, Hit, and the Pride Troopers. Whis then asks Vegeta what his reason for seeking further heights is, to which he replies with Frieza's immediate danger. Vegeta realized that Frieza made some huge gains back in Resurrection of F, and now he is alive again, and that there is a possibility of him becoming even stronger and attacking them again. Goku then naively tells Vegeta that he shouldn't be worried since Frieza helped them win the Tournament of Power, and that they get into a funny argument in which Vegeta tells Goku that he's way too stupid to grasp reality. So it looks like the only reason for Goku to get stronger, or at least looking at the motives as to why he wants to do this, is solely because of what he had experienced in the Tournament of Power, fighting Kefla, having to see what Hit could do, fighting of course against Jiren, and we are going to see images of these characters on screen, which I cannot wait to see the way Shintani is going to depict these characters on the screen. But over on the other hand, it looks like Vegeta has more rationality behind this, because Vegeta understands that Frieza had leapfrogged beyond anybody's expectations in ROF, which is true, in doing a simple 4-month training lesson and being able to catch up to Super Saiyan Blue. Fast forward in the Universe Survival arc, we see how Frieza had also gotten so powerful even while in Hell, doing mental preps and having to reenact himself killing Goku over and over and over again, which allowed him to grow even stronger while in Hell. So Frieza clearly is a problem, and Vegeta seems to be the only person that is recognizing this issue, which further goes to show Goku's stupidity and naiveness in trusting Frieza while Frieza is plotting in the background. Now, Bulma then receives a call from Trunks, who informs her that someone had stolen the 6 Dragon Balls that she had collected, as well as her Dragon Radar. Who could have done something like that? The answer is obvious. Frieza snuck 2 of his fodders inside of Earth, and in order to steal them, they were already headed towards the final Dragon Ball, which was located on a Arctic continent, as they called it. Since Beerus says that he's not interested and will stay behind, Bulma then tasks Beerus with babysitting Bola until they're back. So clearly Beerus doesn't have any interest in partaking in this Dragon Ball adventure, which to me is a little weird how Beerus is unaware that something is coming to Earth. And later on we're going to discuss Beerus here, because it looks like the running gag for this is that he's going to just be a babysitter for Bola, and that is it, until of course what happens later on, which is going to be pretty cool in finding out. So meanwhile, somewhere in space, we get introduced to Chile and Lemo, and who are tasked with finding strong people to join the Frieza army. Reminds me of something very interesting around here. So They happen to have passed by planet Vampa, and they decide to land there after the distress signal that Paragus had sent out 41 years prior is caught by their ship. A very old and frail Paragus crawls out of a cave after he sees them and rushes to their side. The two scan his power level, and the old man is worth 4,200, which still amazes Shile and Lamo, and before they can finish talking, a giant crab spider attacks them, but before it could do anything to them, Paragus calls for Broly, who rushes in instantly and one-shots the creature. Impressed by him, they try to scan Broly's power level, but their scouters can't process his power level. Shocked, they decide to take him back to Frieza headquarters. Once there, Paragus and Broly meet Frieza. While Paragus is very polite and careful, Broly doesn't seem to give a damn and acts in a way very reminiscent of Tarzan. Frieza informs Paragus that King Vegeta's son, Prince Vegeta, is still alive and very well on Earth, which prompts Paragus to agree to share their strength for the sake of revenge. And next up, there is a shower scene with Broly, and he gets his new gear as well, which is weird for a lot of people, but hey, it is what it is. Shile invites the freshly showered Broly to the table in order to socialize, but a drunken Frieza soldier looking for trouble hits Lamo, which prompts a very annoyed Broly to kick his butt. Fearing that Broly is getting a little carried away, he pulls out his remote control and subdues Broly by activating his collar, which sends high voltage currents through his body in order to get him to forcefully calm down out of his rage tantrums. Disgusted by this performance, Shile berates Paragus and manages to steal the remote control from his pouch without him noticing. A Frieza soldier calls for Paragus next, as Frieza seems to want to talk to him in private. Broly then goes with Shile and Lamo somewhere quiet, and they begin to bond. Broly explains that the green fur he is wearing comes from his very first friend. Planet Vampa displays two kinds of creatures, the spider crabs and some gigantic green fur long-necked dog-like creatures that live within the craters found on the surface of the planet. As a kid, Broly had trained by continuously dodging the attacks of one of these green furred creatures, and by repeatedly doing so, they became friends. One day, Paragus attacked this creature, severing one of its ears. After that incident, the creature stopped interacting with Broly, and a saddened little Broly decided to wear the fur of the severed ear around him, that way they'd always be together, because Broly never had friends. After hearing this story, Lamo decides that Broly is really a pure being, to which Shile adds that she thinks that Broly really doesn't want to fight, but instead is being used as a tool by his pathetic father in order to exact some vengeful agenda. They say that Broly should ditch him, but the big guy says that he won't disobey his father, in which immediately the only two people right now that recognize Broly and who he actually is are Shile and Lamo, and they become Broly's new friends. And I really pity Broly because Broly never had friends to begin with, and the only other friend he ever had is now being worn around Broly, and the fact that his father severed his ear, and that's the only thing Broly has to remember him by. Meanwhile, on Earth, Bulma departed towards the Arctic continent together with Goku, Vegeta, and Whis. They ask why Bulma had been trying to collect the Dragon Balls, and she reveals that her wish is to become 5 years younger. This joke is a direct contrast to Frieza's original wish, which is also a gag, which is revealed to be him wanting to grow 5 centimeters tall. In the meantime, the two Frieza spies have managed to find the last Dragon Ball, and they call for Frieza's arrival on Earth. As old enemies meet once again, Frieza introduces Paragus and Broly to Goku and Vegeta as another group of surviving Saiyans. Neither Vegeta nor Goku care about that, and they ask Frieza to return the Dragon Balls at once. Seeing Vegeta, Broly gets progressively impatient, and Paragus then sicks his son on the Saiyan Prince. Vegeta versus Broly begins. Initially, base Vegeta has the edge over base Broly, but the latter soon catches up, making Vegeta claim that Broly seems to learn and get stronger as he fights. Vegeta then turns Super Saiyan, which shocks Paragus and pressures his enemy before he manages to catch up again, meaning that Broly catches up to Vegeta. It is then that Vegeta reveals Super Saiyan God and turns the tables around by completely dominating base Broly, so much that he sends him flying through several mountains with a single punch. Paragus falls to his knees, thinking that this is the limit of his son's powers, but something was gradually awakening inside of Broly. As the Saiyan Prince is about to finish off Broly, Broly gets angrier and angrier, and his power explodes as he awakens an imperfect rage form. This allows Broly to once again pressure Super Saiyan God Vegeta and catch up to him. While it says here, I'm not 100% about this, it seems that Paragus mentions how the rage form with the yellow eyes and big muscles is Broly using the Ozaru's power while in human form, and it's very hard to control. Broly then swells up completely and achieves his complete rage form. Goku then steps in and says that it's his turn to fight Broly. Goku versus Broly begins. Now this is very interesting because it looks like Broly is using a power that Goku and Vegeta have seemingly not come across before, and it's because of this we see that Broly is using this power to catch up to Vegeta, so it's more or less a cat and mouse kind of race. Whenever Vegeta's ahead, Broly shifts the tides. Whenever Broly's ahead, Vegeta shifts the tides. So it's more or less a game of who can catch up and adapt to the other person quick enough, in which we see Broly kind of winning this debate here and being able to supersede and catch up to Vegeta right before the fight with Goku. As only then it goes on to state, as Broly becomes increasingly angrier and his screams are getting louder and more frequent, Goku takes the old approach of going from form to form to form in order to gauge his opponent's strength. Goku starts in base, but is quickly overwhelmed, which prompts him to go Super Saiyan, but that doesn't change anything either. He then goes Super Saiyan God and manages to seemingly paralyze Broly's movements with an unnamed but apparently new technique, which is very interesting because we saw this in Dragon Ball Super Broly trailer number 3. As he's restricting Broly's movements, Goku goes on a monologue about how he thinks that Broly is not a bad person, but rather just lets himself be influenced by the wrong people and tries to get him to calm down. Goku's effort is in vain as Broly gets even angrier and breaks out of the paralysis by turning it back on Goku for a moment and then proceeding to grab him by the leg and throwing him around just like we saw Hulk do to Loki in the Avengers movie. Broly then starts to trash Goku around the whole battlefield so bad that Goku kind of spaces out from being beaten. I forgot to mention how during all of this commotion, Frieza instructs his goons to take the Dragon Balls and fly away from the battlefield. It is then that Piccolo appears by telepathically connecting to Goku, as he goes on by telling him not to give up and to keep fighting. Goku tells Piccolo that he is in trouble, to which Piccolo agrees by saying that he unfortunately can't come join him, as of course he would have no use in being a part of this fight. Goku then comes back to his senses and goes Super Saiyan Blue. It then turns into a back and forth battle until Rage Broly launches the giant green Ki Blast attack seen in the trailer and trashes the entire battlefield, turning the landscape into a dying Namek kind of scenery. Goku manages to avoid any serious damage and then continues to fight Rage Broly, holding his own. Seeing how Broly seems to have reached a limit, Frieza questions Paragus if that is truly the limit of his son's power. Frieza then remembers how killing Krillin back on Namek made Goku turn Super Saiyan, so he decides to murder Paragus by launching a death beam straight through the chest. The lizard then shouts in order to get Broly's attention and tells him that his father has been killed as a casualty of their battle. The sight of his father's corpse makes Broly lose his mind and then turns Super Saiyan in what I believe to be is one of the most awesome transformation sequences we've ever seen. After completing his transformation, an enraged Broly drowns the battlefield in a rain of Ki Blasts. And as Goku is starting to get overwhelmed, Vegeta decides to join in on the fight as well and help him. Super Saiyan Broly completely overwhelms both Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta together, even no-selling their combined Kamehameha Gallic Gun combo with a Ki Blast of his own. Seeing as to how bad things are looking, Goku grabs Vegeta and instant transmissions to where Piccolo is. And as the two are now gone, Broly sets his sights on Frieza and proceeds to attack him. Now I love how Goku and Vegeta immediately immediately flee the scene as Frieza is left there with Broly alone, which makes sense now because since Broly is on a rampage, we come to the understanding that the next person in line is Frieza. Now, with all that being said, as Broly adapts to both Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, it's something that we can't really look at in saying, oh my gosh, this is the first time something like this has happened before, when in fact it's not. We saw what Jiren did when he fought 17 Golden Frieza, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku, and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta all at the same time. Now, as this continues, it goes on to state, on the other side of the Earth, Goku says that Broly is way too strong for them, and the only alternative they have is fusing. Since there are no Potaras around, Goku tries to persuade Vegeta in doing the fusion dance. This moment here is mostly a funny scene as Vegeta knows the dance and what it's about, but refuses to do such an embarrassing move, saying that he would rather let Broly end everything instead. Goku then teases Vegeta by saying that Bulma will die because of him, to which Vegeta reacts with a little blush, then finally gets him to agree. The two Saiyans practice the dance, failing it the first 2 times, which results in Veku, the fat version, and the anorexic Veku as well. A very important thing to note is the fact that it is explicitly stated that they now have to wait 30 minutes in between each of their fusion attempts, time to which Broly has been continuously brutalizing Frieza for over an hour. So much so that Frieza even goes golden, but Super Saiyan Broly just keeps raping him over and over, far worse than how God of Destruction Toppo did in the Tournament of Power. On their 3rd attempt, Goku and Vegeta finally get the fusion dance right, and then decide on a new name since Vegito has been reserved for their Potara fusion counterparts, and thus we have the birth of the Gogeta name. Base Gogeta then instant transmissions back to the battlefield and saves Frieza from Broly by knocking him away. Super Saiyan Broly then sets his sights on Whis and tries to attack him, but ends up punching nothing but air as Whis nimbly dances around him while laughing for at least 5 seconds. Gogeta then takes on Super Saiyan Broly and manages to keep up with him in just his base form for a little while. Gogeta then goes Super Saiyan, but as they clash, their power is so great that they end up transporting themselves in another dimension, which looks like kind of a mirror room filled with tons of differently colored layers. As the two fight each other, they shatter literally several of these planes, and Broly is soon forced to enter his Super Saiyan full powered state, which prompts Gogeta into going Super Saiyan Blue as well. They continue thrashing the dimensions by breaking them until they finally return to Earth. There, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta continues to fight Broly by dominating him for the remainder of the fight. Despite Broly continuously powering up, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta just responds with even more power that overwhelms the Savage Saiyan. Elsewhere, Chile and Lemo decide to use the Dragon Balls to save Broly because they know that he is just being used. They summon Shenron, who seems to only grant 1 wish now, as they prepare to make their wish. Meanwhile, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta charges 1 massive Kamehameha in order to put an end to the losing Broly. And just as the beam was right about to connect, Chile wishes for Broly to be transported back to planet Vampa, saving his life in the process. As soon as the wish is granted, Chile and Lemo hijack one of Frieza's smaller ships and decide to go after Broly. A sly Frieza notices this and was about to shoot down their ship when Gogeta stops Frieza. Annoyed by the fact that his plans have failed yet again, Frieza decides to leave, but not before warning Gogeta that he will be back. The scene then switches back to the babysitting Beerus, who is relieved that everything turned out well. Sometime later, Frieza is seen in one of his main ships during the middle of a planetary assault, which resembles that of Star Wars, and he says that while he may have failed this time around, this ordeal has brought forth an interesting development which might come in handy in the future. Meanwhile, back on planet Vampa, we see a bandaged and battered up Broly sharing some food with Chile and Lamo, who finally arrived. They both almost threw up because the food is so disgusting. Until of course that's when Goku shows up by instant transmissioning there and all of a sudden comes to visit Broly and bringing him gifts as well. He sets up a capsule house courtesy of Bulma and brings him food and gives Broly 2 senzu beans. There, while Shile is very suspicious and hostile towards Goku, the latter then mentions how he just wants to visit Broly once in a while so they can fight once more. Goku then goes on to state that Broly is an incredible fighter and that he might even be stronger than Beerus. The movie ends with Broly warming up to Goku with a smile as our hero instant transmissions back to Earth, and of course, as noted by Kenzairo, not before turning around and saying, "Oh, and by the way, my name is Son Goku, otherwise known as Kakarot." So this movie in and of itself does have lots of depth. It has lots of lore building, it has lots of character development, and more importantly, there's more of a fight incentive in seeing where Goku gauges and seeing where Vegeta gauges, and seeing Broly's massive power having to be demonstrated onto the surface. It's most interesting how Broly was able to survive Gogeta enough for him to even gain any sort of significant boost for him to fight back to begin with, but at this point Broly does deserve recognition in his attempts of even fighting Gogeta to begin with. And what's most interesting about this is Frieza has definitely learned something about this whole ordeal that he is going to use sometime in the future. Now what this may be, I need you guys to let me know in the comment section below as to what you guys think this is, because I do think that at some point Frieza may have come across a secret that he is going to use against Goku and Vegeta at some given point in the future. Whenever that may be is unknown, but it is heavily implied that Goku wants to have a rematch with Broly, just like he told Jiren before leaving the Tournament of Power that he in fact wanted to fight Jiren again. So basically Goku is being Goku in notifying everybody that in fact he is interested in fighting and having a rematch, and very similar to Jiren, he does want to fight Broly again at some given point. And it looks like they're giving this the Jiren treatment because Broly does respond by smiling. So there's an indication there that no, Broly is not an entirely good person, but he acknowledges Broly as being someone pure who does not have any evil intention. Even though a lot of people in the fandom wanted him to be evil, this version of Broly is drastically different in comparison to what we saw before. And the fact that we have this story and this narrative of Paragus, King Vegeta, Frieza, Broly, Goku, Beerus, Whis, Vegeta, everything seems to click and vibe very well. But in the end, I would like to get your thoughts in the comment section below about this detailed synopsis. How do you guys feel about the film? How do you guys feel about the upcoming fights? And what are some things that you guys are looking forward to? Let me know in the comment section below. Lots of spoilers and informational videos, and of course discussions will be dropping this week, so let me know what you all think down in the comment section below. If of course you guys are new to this channel, smash that subscribe button, turn on all notifications, tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all in the next Dragon Ball video. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming and all his social media platforms. Also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you can be the first to know every time that he uploads a new video.
Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck, Zarbon? Put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes, but Jesus Christ, that's huge!